on to match week 5 of the Champions League, and this is Pinnacle FC episode 65. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you as we look ahead to the midweek fixtures. You can follow along on Pinnacle, Bet Smart, Bet Pinnacle, wherever you're watching or listening to this podcast. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and spread the news because this podcast right here is on flames for our Champions League bets and predictions, plus over 20 units combined through the 4 match weeks so far. So let's keep it going. We're midway through the group stage, or should I say the league stage of the Champions League. And I think we're getting a pretty decent read on the way that this may play out, Jake. But some big fixtures this week, and it's go time for some of those squads, so some of those clubs that have been struggling thus far in the Champions League.
Yeah, it really is. Like I said, some really big games, just some big clubs like Barcelona, Chelsea, currently 11th, 12th. They're outside that top 8. It's a massive clash between those two. And even further down, I mean, some big names in Europe. Juventus, 26th. They've got a very, very tricky trip to Bodo, Glimt, and to have any chance of kind of getting in the mix. Benfica, the same, 4 defeats from 4. Jose Mourinho's having a bit of a nightmare start in Europe for them. But yeah, obviously there's some glamour ties, I think we should say as well, isn't there, with Arsenal, Bayern Munich, which is probably where we're going to start, isn't it? Because it's the 2 best teams in Europe going head to head. I'll be honest, I don't know what to expect here. I'm hoping you can give me a better read. I really am struggling with this one.
At the end of this podcast, we have 5 units to play with, and we'll make our official picks and predictions, which sometimes goes our way. It has for the Champions League, for our picks and predictions in our regular midweek podcast. Not so much. But here we go. Let's go. I mean, we could start with the bottom, battle of the basement, Ajax and Benfica, like you said. But why don't we go straight to the top? Because arguably the 2 top clubs across European football right now, with due respect to PSG and a few others, it's Arsenal and Bayern Munich, and those 2 teams go toe-to-toe at the Emirates. That game's going to be played on Wednesday, so we're skipping a little bit ahead, but it's worthwhile to do that because Arsenal haven't lost a game in 15, Bayern Munich haven't lost one in 21, both coming off impressive wins on the weekend. Arsenal 4-1 in the North London derby, despite still without some really top performers in their side, both in defense and in attack. And Bayern Munich just continue to go. They were down 2-0 at home to Freiburg, only to punch back to the tune of 6. They won that game 6-2 on the weekend. Arsenal in the Champions League, 11 goals scored, haven't conceded any, although the standard of opponent has been a little bit wish-washy. Bayern Munich's coming off a 2-1 victory, by the way, away at PSG in the Champions League as well. So, I mean, this game we should also say, a battle of 2 different teams that play in very different ways. Arsenal simply don't concede, and Bayern Munich in attack. Few teams, if any, are better and more potent right now. I believe they have 45 goals in the Bundesliga through their first 11 games, which is ridiculous. And the Champions League, they lead the way as well. You can get on side with Arsenal, just the outright win at plus 120 on Pinnacle, the draw at plus 261. If you want to back Bayern Munich, I don't know if you'll ever see another price like this. Bayern Munich to win a game at plus 231. And the total's a tricky one as well. It's set at 2 3/4 quarters with plus money going to the over. Okay, you're undecided on the way that you're going to play this, Jake, but what are some of the thoughts? What's the process that you're walking through in terms of trying to come to a decision?
Yeah, what makes this very difficult is I always struggle to kind of get a hold on how good Bayern Munich are. And I think it goes the same with PSG because they're playing such poor leagues effectively where they dominate every single week. It's really difficult to get a handle on whether they are of the level of Arsenal, who we see beat good teams pretty much every week. Like the Premier League is stacked in terms of quality. It's the reason that that they do so well in Europe across many different European competitions. So I always find it very difficult to kind of when they're going toe to toe and head to head to try and just to see what the level is. And I think the market has got it about right. Whereas if this was a neutral venue, I think they would be probably each or 2, which is what the odds are kind of implying, basically, with Arsenal being plus 122 favourites. I think if Arsenal were full strength, I probably would be backing them, if I'm being honest. And I might even back them now at that price because I'm a big believer in this Arsenal team. I trust their defensive process so much compared to Bayern Munich's, and like we said, we see it week in and week out from Arsenal, limiting teams to basically nothing in terms of shots. 3 shots against Tottenham a couple of weeks ago, 3 shots against Burnley. I know Bayern Munich are a lot better than those teams, but yeah, we it's a big step up for Bayern compared to what they used to. And Arsenal's attack, it looks good at the weekend. I actually prefer Arsenal with Eze in the 10 compared to Ødegaard because I think he just gives it a little bit of an X factor. Yeah. Ødegaard's more of a creator. Eze's a bit more of a disruptor where you just don't know what he's going to do when he's on the ball. Yeah, having said that, I'm gonna swerve it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Arsenal win. I think if they had a striker fit, if they had Gyökeres or Havertz fit to lead the line as opposed to Marino, I think that would tip me over the edge. But the odds might reflect that as well. But yeah, you've got they're slowly getting there in terms of the injuries. We saw Madueke come off the bench, which is huge for them. Martinelli was on the bench as well, so they've got extra impact off that substitutes bench. And then you've got to factor in the game state, which I think is very interesting as well, because these two teams are obviously won all of the games of the Champions League. That the main thing they want to do is finish in the top 8, and a draw would not be a bad result for either. In that regard, finishing first is not like there isn't a massive carrot dangled by finishing first. We saw that last season. Liverpool finished first, drew PSG in the round of 16, got eliminated. So the only carrot really is financial for finishing first, and these two clubs aren't really desperate for that. So I do just wonder if it might just be one where shake hands on a draw and then might meet you down the road when it actually is a bit more serious. I'm not saying they're going to take the foot off the gas at all. It just might be one of those that peters out after 60 if it's 0-0, 1-1, something like that. But yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it just to see, for me, how good Bayern Munich are, because we saw them go to PSG and win. You predicted that. Credit to you. You predicted them to go there and win. But I think this is going to the Emirates is probably the toughest test in European football at the moment.
Yep, I agree with that, but I rate this Bayern Munich side. They are so deep in every position. Jonathan Tah has just completely settled that back line, and they played a much different way with Alphonso Davies out. They rotate through players. At left back, it could be Limer, could be whoever. Like they have a really solid structure this year, and they go out and play on the weekend, and Kimmich doesn't even play because he doesn't have to. Like they're exceptionally deep in every position. I like Harry Kane against Arsenal. It's tried, tested, and true. 15 goals in 21. And the work rate that he puts it, he drops incredibly deep now to play a very different role. And for all the football that I've watched this year, I haven't seen a player that I think is on better form right now than Harry Kane. And I think that you might like Eze in that position, that number 10 role for Arsenal. Well, Michael Olise, his former Crystal Palace teammate, I think he's even a better player and a better fit right now. He had 5 goal contributions on the weekend. 5! And he made it look easy. He looks like Arjen Robben at times, but then he looks like Mesut Ozil at other times, the way that he comes in and is able to create. I just think that he's such a good player for this team. And they're going to provide a whole different shape and threat in attack that I don't think Arsenal's used to. Also, fixtures matter as well. Arsenal played Sunday. Bayern Munich played Saturday. Ahead for Bayern Munich is a game against St. Pauli, a game that they should win. Arsenal also has Chelsea on the weekend. I mentioned it, Gabriel not playing. I think that will play a role for Arsenal. I know you're shaking your head. They have about 5 or 6 center backs they can rotate through. I still think that in games like this, like Spurs, like a toothless, punchless team, I think you can get away with it, not against Bayern Munich. But I agree with you. I think that the draw is a probable result. And if you're going to give me Bayern Munich with a quarter goal on the handicap, I'm just going to take it. It's going to be straightforward for me. Quarter goal. And the money's shifting. Like when I looked last night, it was at minus 106. Now it's at minus 101. This might go beyond even money as some money's coming in to back the Arsenal in this game. So that's the way that I'm going to play it. Bayern Munich on the handicap. Yeah, that's it. Bayern Munich on the handicap. That's my play. No problem making it. Anything to add? I know that you're going to take exception to the Gabriel.
No, yeah, I mentioned it at the weekend when you it happened over here. Everyone every podcast I listened to was saying that's the reason. Quite a few people I know actually tipped Tottenham to get a result, and they're saying that was the main reason. Gabriel's out, and I'm thinking, well, they just spent like 35 million quid on this other centre half in Cappy from Leverkusen. It's pretty good. It's not like we're going from Gabriel to Rob Holding or Callum Chambers. Like you're going to a certified international football player who's really good, and Mosquera's the same. So, and I think that's what people sometimes forget with Arsenal.
Timber, they just play with centre backs. They're just like
exactly. Well, but they've also got Lewis Skelly and they've got Ben White. So if they want to mix it up, they can mix it up. You know, when you said about Elise, he's tearing the Bundesliga up because the Bundesliga is crap. Like, let's be honest, the competition outside of Bayern Munich is rubbish. And you know, he did it. He worked wonders at Crystal Palace in the Premier League as well. So I'm not discounting his talent, but it's these kind of games where we're going to see whether he is actually at the level of serious game changer. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the battle really, because this for my money, these are the two best teams on the continent, and it's just a case of how seriously they take it at this stage. But yeah, I don't mind your play at all, because like I say, I definitely see the draw being a runner.
Okay, let's go to another big game this week that I know that you do have a play. You are picking a side. It's Chelsea and Barcelona. The game will be played on Tuesday. Barcelona's back at it. Well, they're playing away here, but they're back at the Nou Camp, and they look really good in a 4-0 win on the weekend. Chelsea, as predicted by you, Jake, an away win 2-0, with a clean sheet, mind you. 2-0 win away at Burnley. Two good sides in this game, but Bayern Munich, the fact that Rafinha's come back into this team. Look, Lewandowski's back in this team. I know they're a little bit different in terms of their complexion in the midfield, but some of their injury concerns have kind of gone away, and it's an important game for both sides. Chelsea plus 135. The draw is set at 300. And plus 179 if you want to back Barcelona in this game, which seems like a big old number, with the total set at 3.5. How are you looking at this game Tuesday at Stamford Bridge?
Yeah, you said it. The Barcelona price is just massive. It's drifted again. You're at plus 182 now, which I can't quite get my head around. I mean, we're talking about the La Liga champions, the side that were, you know, completely decimated defensively at the back end of last season and somehow nearly made it to the final of the Champions League. And a side that are going well in the La Liga this season. I mean, they're fresh off, like you said, a big win against Bilbao. They're now just 1 point behind Real Madrid, and I think there's just a bit too much stock being put in Chelsea's form, and I just can't get why the money's coming for them. I really can't. Since the last international break, the October international break, they won 6, drawn 1, lost 1. But I'm just going to read out the teams they've played in that 8-game period.
Yeah.
They've played Nottingham Forest under Ange Postecoglou. They played Ajax. They played Wolves twice. They played Burnley and Sunderland. They played Qarabag, and they've played Tottenham, who we all saw again yesterday are rubbish. So why are we getting carried away? I've seen quite a lot of people over here who are getting carried away with Chelsea that they're in a title race. No, they're not. Like, let's see them play a good football team. Like, you tell me that a defensive three or you know, goalkeeper of Sanchez, Chalobah, and Adebayo are going to contend for any kind of major tournament. It's not going to happen. So yeah, I can't get away with this price at all. And yes, Barcelona have some issues defensively. They do concede chances, but they just score so many goals. And this Chelsea team, I know they kept a clean sheet at Burnley, and you know, thank you for that, because I did back them to do that. But that was Burnley. I mean, this is just a completely different kettle of fish. Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Lewandowski, supported by Fermin Lopez, Ferran Torres off the bench. Like, it's just a completely different ball game. And you give me plus 114 for Barca draw no bet in a game that they have to win, really, if they're to finish in the top 8. And I'll be taking that all day long, because not only have Chelsea just been, you know, average and against a good schedule, their Champions League results and performances have been really poor. You know, they narrowly got past Benfica, and Benfica played really well on that occasion, I thought. Obviously, the draw in Qarabag was a terrible result. Defeat at Bayern Munich, they weren't very good in that game. And then the only game they've won convincingly was against Ajax, and Ajax are rubbish, and they were reduced to 10 men after about 4 minutes. So, yeah, I'm putting massive caveats next to Chelsea's form. I'm not getting carried away, and I think Barcelona are in a tier just slightly below Bayern Munich, Arsenal, PSG, and then I probably would put Real Madrid, Barca somewhere along the level, way clear of this Chelsea team. So yeah, I'm all over this. And we mentioned Rafinha, but also the number one goalkeeper is back as well, who they signed in the summer from, I think it was Espanyol, Garcia. So that means no more Wojciech Szczesny in the net, which is also a positive. So yeah, I don't really understand the price, but it is worth mentioning that when they played at Newcastle, there was a big drift on Barcelona's price before kick-off as well. Like, I think we were talking about the game, they were about plus 140 or something. They went right out to like plus 180, plus 190. And they went there and won. And I don't understand why the drift is occurring. Why nobody's liking the look of this Barca team, but I'm going to be taking them draw no bet plus 114 and Barca to win at plus 182 because the price is just massive.
Yep. Two different bets. It's crazy. We have 4 different bets for this game, and they're all pro Barcelona. Chelsea's gone over in 7 of 9. Barcelona have gone over 2.5 in their last 10, and both teams' score has played in 9 of 10. Head-to-head between these two sides have gone over in 4 or 5, and both teams to score in 4 or 5. What we know about Barcelona, they score goals, they can concede goals. And if you like Barcelona to win this game instead of backing them at plus 182, let's go both teams to score yes and Barcelona win at plus 314. That's a good play for me and a likely scenario. And what about the team total? This is a peculiar team total. Barcelona over a goal and a half at minus 108, and it's being pushed out. It's being pushed out for minus 111. So I'll back Barcelona to score 2 goals in this game and hopefully come away with a win. And then you kind of double your fun and double your profit. So those are my 2 plays. So 4 different plays in this game, courtesy of us two, both backing Barcelona, but all in a different way. All right.
The Chelsea win to 0. Yeah.
Not for this podcast, Jake. Not for this podcast.
No,
all right.
That's true.
We went heavy on these two big games. So let's go through some other bets. Let's start with the Tuesday fixtures, Jake. What else may have caught your eye and what's potentially making your board?
Yeah, so I've got a couple more for Tuesday. The first one is just backing against my favourite Union Saint-Gilloise. They've been battered from pillar to post in the last 3 games. They obviously won their opener, but they got comfortably beaten by Inter, Newcastle and Atletico Madrid, beat them 3-1 last time. I just go back in again. Galatasaray, -1 on the Asian handicap at plus 107. So if they win by a goal, you get your money back. If they win by 2, we get a lovely payout. They've been really good, Galatasaray. I know they've had a slightly, probably a kind schedule, you'd have to say. They beat Bodo, Glimt, Ajax, beat Liverpool as well at home. And the underlying data is what caught my eye. And again, you have to take it with a bit of a pinch of salt because not everyone plays the same schedule. But they've got a plus 1.04 expected goal difference per game, which is the 8th best process in the division in the league standings. Which is better than both Manchester City and Barcelona, while only Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Inter, Real and PSG have been more potent in attack. Obviously, Victor Osimhen's leading the line, scoring a hatful of goals. And I mentioned Union Saint-Gilloise, the worst defensive team in the competition according to XG, 2.93 expected goals against per game. So I think this is going to be quite a comfortable home win for Galatasaray. And they're in a position where they're on the outside looking into that top 8, but if they get a big win here, they're almost going to guarantee themselves passage to that playoff round, and they'll give themselves a chance of finishing that top 8, provided they can get the goal difference up. It looks like a good game. Then the other one I have is just a rinse and repeat from...
Can I just add on that? Like, I'm making a play in this game, just over the total of 3. Because Union Saint-Gilloise still create a ton of chances. They just give up. Defensively, they're just exceptionally poor. The total set at 3 here. I'm surprised it's not 3.25, 3.5. Galatasaray home, they score goals. They just do. This total seems a little bit on the low side to me. So over 3 at minus 107. Go ahead.
Yeah, nice.
You can pick up where you left off.
Rinse and repeat from the last round where we had Man City to win and both teams to score. Just doing the same again against Leverkusen. They played Dortmund last time, Leverkusen this time, plus 161. And I couldn't quite understand this price because over 3.5 goals is priced at minus 105. And a City wins at minus 442. And I can't quite understand why we're going to, it's hard to see like a 4-0 Man City win. Like if City are going to win, it's not going to be 4-0, 5-0 and cover that 3.5 goals. It's more than likely going to be a 3-1 or a 4-1 or something like that. So that was what price-wise is one of the ones I was looking at. But also, City's attack looks good. I know they lost to Newcastle, but they generated 2.5 expected goals, missed a glaring amount of chances. Leverkusen won 3-1 at Wolfsburg, did me a favour at the weekend at a big price, but they conceded over 2 expected goals as well. So I think this is a
Every
good
game.
matchup for City. Yeah,
Every
yeah,
game,
basically.
Leverkusen gives up.
Yeah,
I've been looking for a way to get on side in this game. It's just, I just have the cold sweats from Leverkusen, Bayern Munich. Leverkusen playing
yeah,
away
three
against a
0
good team. Can they? Yeah. So I just couldn't quite get there. And even City win to nil at plus 129. It's just there's not enough in it to provide. Considering that the probability of an alternative outcome. But yeah, that's fine if you want to back that. I've been looking for a way to back City. I just haven't really got there yet. Okay, carry on.
Yeah, that was it really. I had a small lean
Wednesday.
towards Newcastle at Marseille. I do think they're a big price. Marseille have been well beaten by Sporting, Real Madrid, and Atalanta, and they've only beat Ajax, who, as I've said before, the worst team in the competition. Newcastle were very good against Barcelona, despite losing, dominant in the other 3 matches against Union Saint-Gilloise, Benfica, and Bilbao. But the nagging doubt why I can't pull the trigger is their away form. Just in general, they don't travel very well and haven't travelled well for a long period of time. So I'm happy to let them slide at plus 153 and move on to Wednesday, unless you have anything else for Tuesday.
I was considering making a play on Bodo Glimt against Juventus. Juventus have been really poor, and they just don't look like they're in a position to improve anymore. At a quarter of a goal on the handicap, it's just at even money. If it was a little bit more juice, I'd have a lean there. I lean Borussia Dortmund, both teams scoring over 2.5 at home to Villarreal at plus 112. I'm considering it. Nothing official. This is the way that Dortmund play. I much prefer playing Villarreal when they're at home rather than when they're away. But that's about it. Those are just slight leans, nothing official for those, and I'll be watching those lines. Okay, let's go to Wednesday.
Yeah, not too much on Wednesday for me. I've got 2 really. My favourite one is just over 3 goals in Frankfurt Atalanta at plus 102. It might seem pretty straightforward given it's Frankfurt and Atalanta, but some extra context. The fact that, as we mentioned last week in the midweek show, Atalanta's managerial change to a more attack-minded coach, I think, is going to yield quite a lot of goals and get them back on track in that regard. And we saw it at the weekend. They lost 3-1 to Napoli. Looked good going forward, created good chances, but equally as vulnerable at the back. And you got Frankfurt fresh off a 4-3 win over Köln, back to their usual business. So they had 10. They went over 3.5 goals in the first 10 games in all competitions, then went 5 without or 6 without, and then had a big 4-3 win. So I have a feeling that the back 11 of 17 in total have gone over 3.5. The line's set at 3. So if you get a 2-1, 3-0, we get a push. But I think looking at the state of the play, Atalanta 16th on 7 points, Frankfurt 23rd on 4 points. Both of them need a victory, really. I think they're just going to go for it, if I'm honest. So that's one of my favourite plays for Wednesday. And then the other one is PSG win to 0 against Spurs. The Spurs are awful, quite simply. Plus 167. Yeah. It's a big number. Poor performance after poor performance for Tottenham. And against better teams this season, Man City 1.1 XG, Villa 0.75 XG, Newcastle 0.8 XG, Chelsea 0.1, Man United 0.9, Arsenal 0.07. They've just been toothless, and PSG is slowly getting back to full strength as well. Kvaratskhelia come off the bench, Fabian Ruiz came off the bench at the weekend, so they're slowly getting there. I think this would be quite a comfortable victory.
Yep, PSG on the handicap. I know it's chalk straightforward, but a goal at a quarter at minus 112. Look, I want to get a first half play in as well, but on the money line, on the team total, I mean, you can back PSG at minus 122. Spurs have been the first concede in 4 of 5, first half loser in 4 of 5, and PSG have been the first to score in 8 of their last 9 games. They score early, they score often. If you can find a number that's maybe a little bit better than the minus 122, I would strongly recommend playing that. But I'm comfortable just playing PSG on the handicap at home here, especially coming off a loss against Bayern Munich in the previous match. I also really like Atletico Madrid, the Inter game, from a couple different perspectives. The total set at 2.5. But this is predicated on Atletico Madrid and Inter in previous years. Like, Inter has been over in 4 of their last 5. They have over 27 expected goals in Serie A this year, which is about 7 expected goals better than anyone else. These two sides have played home and away last year in the Champions League. But let's just go through the games that each of them have played. Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, 3-2 Liverpool, 5-1 Frankfurt, 4-0 loss to Arsenal, 3-1 over to Union Saint-Gilloise. Like, the games have goals. Inter, 2-0 against Ajax, 3-0 against Slavia Prague, 4-0 against Union Saint-Gilloise, and 2-1 against Karaat Almaty. People will point to the fact that Inter have the best expected goals against, but they haven't played anyone thus far in the Champions League, and they're playing at Atletico Madrid, a very difficult place to play. Atleti being very good at home this year, so I expect goals in this game. It's just the way that these two teams play. I just think it sets up for them. I also wouldn't mind backing Inter on the handicap at plus a quarter of a goal at minus 109. I know they haven't played anyone yet. I'm kind of speaking out of both sides of my mouth, but I still think that they're just about as complete of a team as there is in Serie A, and they're coming off a disappointing result against AC Milan over the weekend as well. So I think that they could keep it close. I think the most likely outcome is probably a draw here, but instead of going that route, give me Inter with a little bit of protection there. Sporting against Club Brugge. Sporting to win at over 2.5 at plus 135. This will be a play I'm going to be making. Sporting's playing some really good football. They haven't lost in 9, and they've gone over in 6 of their last 8. And they've been competitive here in the Champions League as well. Club Brugge, very different at home than they are away from home. Their last result, 3-3 against Barcelona. They lost away 4-0 at Bayern Munich. They lost 2-1 away to Atalanta. That's kind of the framework as I'm approaching this game. And they won 4-1 at home over Monaco. The thing is with this Club Brugge side, they have some really good attacking players in it, and they create chances. But I think playing away against another good attacking side in Sporting, just take the over. 2.5 in Sporting to win at plus 135. That's all for me on the Wednesday. I have a lean to the under in Pafos and Monaco as well. The total set at 3 at minus 115. But other than that, that's kind of all I'm looking at in the Champions League for Wednesday. Anything else to touch on? Or should we get to our board?
Yeah, let's get to the board. I've struggled to find much else on Wednesday, to be honest. Yeah, let's go with the units. Let's get the units out.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I like all my plays quite equally, so I'm just going to do 5 units, 1 unit each. Galatasaray minus 1 on the handicap, plus 107. City win and both teams to score, plus 161. Barca draw no bet, plus 114. Over 3 goals in Frankfurt Atalanta, plus 102. And PSG win to 0 at plus 167.
Brilliant. Chelsea, Barcelona, both teams to score. Yes, Barcelona win at plus 314. Let's go.
Nice.
Barcelona over the team total of 1.5 at minus 108. Over 3, Galatasaray, Union Saint-Gilloise. PSG on the handicap at a goal and a quarter at minus 112. And then Sporting to win and over 2.5 goals scored in the game against Club Brugge at plus 135. 5 plays, all for a unit. That's it. Quickly, in and out, done and dusted. We will be back Wednesday with our regular podcast. But for now, we will say goodbye. And best of luck to you, Jake. Enjoy the Champions League this week. It's been very kind to us so far.
Hopefully that continues. Yeah, Forza Barca.
No better way. And by the way, the retro Kappa kit is absolute class. If you're watching this on YouTube, Jake wins the best dressed award, which isn't tough considering this is a rubbish shirt, isn't it? Never mind about fashion. Let's talk about our picks and get involved in the conversation, the comment section as well. On behalf of Jake and everyone at Pinnacle, I am Gareth Wheeler. This has been episode 65 of Pinnacle FC.